the formation of Catholic missionaries. Are you at all concerned with what the confusion in this world today is doing to the church and the culture of tomorrow? Utopianism, hedonism, secularism. How are we ever going to rebuild this culture? Be sure to share your thoughts below. I read each and every comment. Welcome. I'm Brad Schepisi, and in the last video I said that Catholics were confused about what type of culture that we currently live in. We're acting as though we live in a Catholic culture, that all we need to do is to vote for pro-life candidates, give money to charity, and go to Sunday Mass, and then we've done our part. But that is to be oblivious to the obvious. This culture, the culture that our saints gave their lives building, has completely collapsed into paganism through ideologies such as secularism, fundamentalism, hedonism, and utopianism. Catholic culture is the fruit of Catholic evangelization, but proper evangelization depends on proper formation. So in this video, we're going to discuss proper formation for Catholic missionary evangelization. But I'm going to approach this as a Dominican. Now, what does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean that we're going to start with a stack of books. That will actually come later in the next video. No, evangelization starts with prayer, because we pray and then we give to others the fruit of that prayer. What the world needs is Christ. And what we're bringing to the world is Christ. And you can't give what you don't have. So everything we do begins with prayer. Now, the mysteries of the Rosary just happen to be the very same things that people in this culture today are struggling with. What is truth? Who is God? What is my role, my vocation in this world? When the Blessed Mother gave the Rosary to St. Dominic, she told him to preach the mysteries of the Rosary. And 800 years later, it's these very same things, these very same mysteries that the culture is struggling with, that the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Now, Father Donald Calloway wrote a book and there's a video. I'll link it in the description below. But he discusses the history of the Rosary. I highly recommend the book and the video, because when we pray the Rosary, we're contemplating Christ so that we come to know Christ, and we meditate upon the mysteries of Christ's life to transform us into images of Christ, so that when we go out into the world, God willing, we may transform the culture the way the prayer transformed us. If we pray and then we give to others the fruit of that prayer, what does prayer look like? It looks like this. Unless you're already under spiritual direction or you're doing some intense Carmelite thing, this is where to start, because this is what the church gives us. And we want to pray with the body of the church because grace comes through the church. Now, all of this will look very different based on your state in life, and you need to take that into consideration. But the daily Mass should be a part of your daily prayer life. But if you're like me, I work Monday through Friday, so I'm not able to go to Mass every single day. But I can read the readings on my lunch break, I do, and then I go to daily Mass on Saturday morning. So maybe some type of schedule like that might work for you. The Liturgy of the Hours are beautiful because it provides an order for your day, and it consecrates your day and your vocation to God. Now again, doing every hour may be kind of outside the parameters of your state in life, but maybe you can do one of the hours. I do morning prayer and I do evening prayer. And there is a learning curve. If you haven't done this before, there's a huge learning curve actually. But the IBreviary app, you can download that on your phone. It kind of eliminates the learning curve, and you can kind of jump right in and start doing it. The Rosary, again, depending on your state in life, you can, perhaps just do 1 decade per day, or, eventually work your way up to 15 decades. Don't force it. Don't push it. You'll eventually grow into it as your prayer life begins to grow. Now, all of this is just a starting point. But as you grow in your prayer, this will change and modify based on your vocation, your mission, spiritual direction. All of those types of things will play a factor, but this is a great starting point. Now, this will determine how you evangelize, because once this is in order, and once your immediate vocation is in order, your family is taken care of, and your responsibility is like mowing the lawn or taking out the garbage, once all of that is in order, and the study, we'll talk about that in the next video. Once all of these things are in order, if you still have time, now this is going to hurt, if you have time to spend 6 hours a day playing video games or arguing in chat rooms with people about politics and religion, guess what? You have a mission, and it is not for playing video games. Obviously, there is a real battle happening, and you're playing imaginary battles. There's a warrior inside of you that wants to get out and engage to actually win, but instead you're locked away playing games. If you're arguing with people about all of this stuff, then obviously you're knowledgeable about this stuff. There's clearly a teacher inside of you that needs to get out and teach. By orienting your heart on Christ in prayer, He will orient your vocation and your mission on the work that He has for you, the work that He created for you. He puts you here in this time and in this place for a very specific purpose. So you have a mission, but how do you find it? The first thing you need to do is get up from the video games and walk out the front door. Look to the left and look to the right. If you don't see anything, walk a block or two. Eventually, you're going to see a need, something where there's a work of mercy that needs to be done. And if that's something that you can do, I think it's safe to discern that that's your most immediate mission, because it is a work of mercy that needs to be done, and you can do it, and it is very close to where you're at right now. Now, if I'm wrong, and I am, God will move you up a block over where your actual mission is. But that's not going to happen until you take the initiative to walk out the front door and bring the fruits of your prayer out into this culture. But a word of warning, keep in mind that we're not talking about good deeds or random acts of kindness. This isn't charity. We're talking about the works of mercy, the corporal and the spiritual works of mercy. If you're not sure what those are, Google them. But we're not talking about good deeds. It's not the same thing. They're not identical. Also, do one thing. Don't do everything. There's a lot of need out there in the world, but that doesn't mean that you should do all of it. Just do one thing and do that one thing well. Our enemy likes to overwhelm us with all of the need out there, and that leads, God forbid, to burnout very quickly. Just do one thing. You are not Mother Teresa. I'm not Mother Teresa. You are not going to change the culture. I'm not going to change the culture. But the church, through missionary evangelization as a body, will change the culture. Now, when you get out there, you're going to need to know what to do or what to say. Now, that's where study comes in. In the next video, I'm going to break down everything you should study before you make that first step outside. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss that video. Hey, help me get this message out by praying for our mission, sharing these videos, and consider supporting me on Patreon. The link is below. So I'm in a meeting, a really, really important meeting with a lot of really important people, when all of a sudden my phone completely blows up.